Hari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Hari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Hari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanacha Hari. Yamuna Tira Vanacha Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Hari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradha Hari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanacha Hari. Yamuna Tira Vanacha Hari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Kunj Bihari Radha Kunj Bihari Radhe. Jaya Radha Ras Bihari Radha Ras Bihari Radhe. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radhe. Jaya Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Jaya Radhe Shyam. Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gauda Hadibol 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 Nitai Gauda Hadibol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotar Sat Shishamachila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Jaya Vishupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotar Sat Shishamachila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki. Ananta Kode Vaishnava Vrinda ki. Sirup Si Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Jeev Gopal Bhatta Das Saraghunath Sari Goswami Prabhu ki. Prem Se Kau Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivjari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopa Gopika Vinath Cham Kundaradha Kundagiri Govardhana ki. Vrindavan Dham ki, Mathura Dham ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Jagarpuri Dham ki. तुलसी महारानी भक्ति देवी की, गंगा मुनि देवी की, हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की, श्री श्री गौनीताय की, श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की, श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर की, गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. We are reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, 17th chapter, text number 24. Tasmād om udāhṛtya yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-kriyāḥ pravartante vidhānoktāḥ satatam brahma-vādinām tasmād om ityudāhṛtya yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-kriyāḥ pravartante vidhānoktāḥ satatam brahma-vādinām tasmād om ityudāhṛtya yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-kriyāḥ pravartante vidhānoktāḥ satatam brahma-vādinām. Tasmād, therefore, Om, beginning with Om, iti, thus, udāhṛtya, indicating yajña, of sacrifice, dāna, charity, tapa, and penance, kriyāḥ, performances, pravartante, begin, vidhāna-uktāḥ, according to scriptural regulation, satatam, always, brahma-vādinām, of the transcendentalists. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Therefore, transcendentalists undertaking performances of sacrifice, charity and penance in accordance with scriptural regulations begin always with Om to attain the Supreme. Purport. Om tad viṣṇoḥ paramaṁ padam. The lotus feet of Viṣṇu are the supreme devotional platform. The performance of everything on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead assures the perfection of all activity. Om ajñāna-timirandasya jñānanjana-salakaya chakasodannamilitam yenam tasmai Sri Gurave namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Sabarantigam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shirupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishnavedamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopikaganta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshari Vrishabhano Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivadari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare tasmād om udāhṛtya yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-kriyāḥ pravartante vidhānoktāḥ satatam brahma-vādinām. Therefore, transcendentalists undertaking performances of sacrifice, charity and penance in accordance with scriptural regulations begin always with Om to attain the Supreme. So we are very fortunate to be in Vrindavan Dham, where Krishna performs his eternal pastimes. Especially to be present in Braj during the month of Kartik is most beneficial, is most wonderful. It is mentioned in scriptures that whatever spiritual activity one is performing during the month of Kartik, it has 1,000 times more benefit than doing any other time. So we are in the most auspicious place at the most auspicious time. Also, we are so fortunate, by the mercy of the Lord, by the mercy of Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada, we are able to take darshan of Sri Sri Gonitai, Sri Sri Krishna Balaram, Sri Sri Radha Shyama Sundara. And during the month of Kartik, since more than 20 years, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's deity, Sri Radha Madhav, they're also on the altar of Radha Shyama Sundar. Whenever we give class, Srila Prabhupada established before giving class in the morning Bhagavatam or evening Bhagavad Gita, we are chanting Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Very beautiful song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. A beautiful description of Braj. Radha Krishna performing pastimes in the kunjas of Braj. So he was writing this song for his deities of Radha Madhav, which are situated here in the month of Kartik, every Kartik except during COVID, but otherwise since the year 2000 or 2001, every year Radha Madhav have come here. So we are very fortunate. So, Sri Krishna performs his eternal pastimes in Braj. Braj is the most exalted place in the spiritual world. And also even in the material world, there are many important places, holy places. And even higher planets are there than the earthly planet, like the planet of Indra, the planet of the moon, Chandralok, the planet of the sun, Suryalok, the highest planet where Lord Brahma is residing, Brahmalok or Satyalok. But in the scriptures it is mentioned that Bhumandal is very fortunate, the middle planetary system, because Krishna, Mahaprabhu and many of the avatars, they appear in Bhumandal, specifically in Bharatvarsha, which is in the main island of Bhumandal, Jambudvip, in the southern part. Once in the day of Lord Brahma, Krishna is appearing, and then Mahaprabhu also, performing their wonderful pastimes for the benefit of the conditioned souls, for our benefit. So we may realize our spiritual identity, we may realize that we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. So we may realize that we belong to the spiritual world, that we have a relationship with Krishna, or we may have a relationship with Viṣṇu. But the topmost planet in the spiritual world, that is Golok, where Radha Krishna performed their pastimes. And so this same place, Brajdham, is also manifested in this world to attract the fallen conditioned souls. Krishna performs his pastimes in Braj with his associates, the gopis, Maria Yashoda, Nanda Baba, his friends, Sudam, Sridam, Madhumangal, Ujjval, and servants are there also, and the animals, and there's a loving exchange there. And Krishna resides 11 years here in Braj. And then Yashodananda Krishna is going to Mathura and then Dwarka to continue his pastimes in this world, to speak the Bhagavad Gita, to deliver the fallen conditioned souls. And he also spoke to one of his associates in Dwarka, Uddhav, all for the benefit of the fallen conditioned souls. So here in the Bhagavad Gita, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking to Arjuna to dispel his doubts of what to do and what not to do, to give transcendental knowledge, to show him what to do. But ultimately, actually, to give this knowledge to the whole world. And Bhagavad Gita is famous all over the world by the Lord's arrangement. And Srila Prabhupada, he has given very nice translation in English, and it has been translated in many languages. And he's given a nice purport, explanation of the verses for our understanding. We have to hear the scriptures from the advanced devotees, or of course from the Supreme Lord himself. And then we have to try to understand the subject matter. So by hearing and then also trying to apply in our life. So transcendental knowledge is to be received and one is supposed to act according to that knowledge. It should go in our heart. It should remain in our consciousness. And then we can advance in our life, we can be properly situated. And even materially speaking, then we can live happily in this world. If we follow the instructions of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, if we abide by the Vedic literatures, if we follow the Vedic culture or Vaishnava culture, then we can be relatively peaceful in this world. Although to have complete peace is not possible, there is always some disturbance in this world. But by the Lord's arrangement, if we try to surrender to Him and adopt His culture, then we can be, by the Lord's mercy, quite peaceful. And we can advance in spiritual life. And we can overcome all difficulties. So in this chapter, 17th chapter, so the divisions of faith are explained. Different persons are in the different modes of material nature. Some are in mode of goodness, some in the mode of passion, some in the mode of ignorance. Of course, the modes of material nature are mixed. And even anyone in this world, any conditioned soul, he cannot be completely in goodness. Some passion and ignorance will be there. Nobody can always be in passion, but some ignorance will be there also, and usually some goodness will be there too. Similarly, those in the mode of ignorance, they also are sometimes passionate, or sometimes some goodness may be there. In order to make advancement in spiritual life, one has to be situated in the mode of goodness. The environment must be in the mode of goodness. The thinking must be in the mode of goodness. The activities which you perform must be in the mode of goodness. And then we can approach Krishna, the Supreme Lord, who is transcendentally situated. And the transcendental stage is known as Vishuddha Sattva or Shuddha Sattva. It is pure goodness. It is not touched by the modes of material nature. So by hearing from Krishna, from Krishna's representatives, one can understand the subject matter which is taught in the Bhagavad Gita, which is the preliminary knowledge, understanding sambandha jnana, our relationship with Krishna, understanding that we actually belong to the spiritual world, we don't belong to this material world. And then understanding the process by which we can attain perfection. So simply hearing, simply knowing is not sufficient. But one has to apply the knowledge, one has to engage in spiritual activities, one has to engage in devotional service, and then one can attain perfection, practical realization of oneself and practical realization of Krishna. And throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is trying to explain this transcendental subject matter of the self, Atma Tattva, to Arjuna. He is speaking from different angles of vision for Arjuna to understand it properly, so that the different conditioned souls may understand this subject matter properly. So in this particular verse here, text 24, Krishna is explaining about the word Om, also known as pranav, mentioning that brahma-vādinām, those who are engaged in the pursuit of the absolute truth, here explained as transcendentalists, Transcendental means actually somebody who is beyond the modes of material nature, transcending the modes of material nature. They are absorbed in the absolute truth, Brahman, by worshipping the absolute truth. Of course, even there are some impersonalists, some underpersonalists. So the three aspects of the absolute truth are there. Vadanti tattva vidastatvam yajña-dāna-tapaḥ-kriyāḥ brahma-eti paramatma-eti bhagavan-iti sabdate. The transcendentalists, again here the word is used, those who have studied the scriptures, specifically the Vedic literatures, they will understand the absolute truth as Brahman, Paramatma, Paramatmeti. And Krishna has also indicated this in the Bhagavad Gita. So the impersonalists, so they have the spiritual understanding that there is something more than this material world. And that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. And those who are meditating on Paramatma, the super soul within the heart. But the highest understanding is the understanding that the absolute truth, Krishna or Viṣṇu, is residing in the spiritual world, and that we should go to the spiritual world by engaging in spiritual activities. This verse is very important. Here also Krishna is explaining that vidhāna-uktāḥ, that one should act according to scriptural regulation, or one should act according to instructions of the persons who are experienced in spiritual life, who are following the Vedic literatures. So, that is an important point to understand. We have to act according to Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. We have to take instructions from the spiritual master, from the saintly persons, the previous acharyas. And that has to be according to the scriptures. The spiritual master is speaking according to scripture. That is the qualification of the spiritual master, of the advanced devotees. They are the representatives of the Supreme Lord. They are the manifestation of the mercy of Krishna. And they are speaking as Krishna. They are speaking the words of Krishna. Which is according to the scriptures. So here it is mentioned that the persons who are engaged in spiritual activities, the devotees, when they are performing different activities, kriya, they are starting the activities by chanting some mantras. For example, here, yajña, one is performing fire sacrifice. Whenever there is a fire sacrifice, then different mantras are chanted. And actually, first one who will worship the spiritual master and one's Ishtadev. In our case, Mahaprabhu and Krishna. And then many mantras are chanted from the Vedic literatures. And any mantra for the Vedic literature starts with Om. As Prabhupada is quoting from the Rig Veda, the 4 Vedas are there. Veda is knowledge, not different from Krishna. First there was one Veda, but then Vyasadeva divided in 4. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. And there are many mantras in each of the Vedas, 4 Vedas. And all of them are starting with Om. So Prabhupada is quoting one famous verse, Om tad viṣṇoḥ paramam param sada pachyante suryo divyachaksho satatam tattve pajabivinjavo jagrebam sa samandade viṣṇoḥ paramam padam. Prabhupada many times in lectures or in his books he has mentioned this verse, the full verse. So here in the purport just the first line is mentioned. So that starts also with Om, indicating the absolute truth. As mentioned also in previous verses, in the last verse, Om Tat Sat. Om refers to the absolute truth. Tat refers to the absolute truth. So Tat refers to Om. Sat, that means eternal. So Om actually refers to the absolute truth, and of course different persons have different understandings. The personalists, they say it refers to the Brahma-jyoti. That we may accept also, but it's not the complete understanding. But the highest understanding that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given and his followers, the meaning of Om, Akaranochyate Krishna, Ukanochyate Radha, Maka Jiva Vachakaha, A refers to Krishna, Aravindaksha Krishna. Krishna has beautiful eyes like lotus petals. Who is the only hero? Sarvalokaika Nayakaha. Ukanochyate Radha, who refers to Srimati Radharani. Urjeshwari. Now we are in the month of Kartik and we are following Urja Vrata. So Urja means also the Tej, the energy of the Lord, the Shakti. That is Srimati Radharani. She is the personification of Krishna's pleasure potency. And we follow this Kartik Vrat for the pleasure of Radha Krishna, ultimately. And Ma refers to the living entity. So any yaga which is performed, so any mantra which is chanted, that is starting with Om. Even when we do yagas, we chant the Maha Mantra. And when we chant the Maha Mantra during the yaga, we also start with Om. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And also, before doing an auspicious activity, is the Sankalpa, the declaration of the activity or the resolute determination to do something. That is Sankalpa. So that is mentioned also in the scriptures. Even while giving charity, so usually those from cultured families, when they give charity, they will offer respect to the Ishtadev. And they will remember the Lord and then they will give charity. And even doing penance, tapa, that is explained also that should be performed for the pleasure of the Lord, not for getting the attention of others. But it is for the pleasure of the Lord. We do some austerity for purification. So we understand that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. So we have the proper consciousness. So traditionally, before doing any sacrifice, charity or penance, then some mantras are chanted and they all starting with Om. And in this way, because Om that is the seed, bij. So Om refers to Krishna, Radharani and the Jiva. So that is like when we have a seed of a mango, we put it in the ground. We give water and then it will sprout and then the tree is coming. Without seed, no tree will come, no fruits are there. Similarly, by chanting any mantra, so the seed has to be there. These are known as bij mantra. So that is Om. The other seed mantras also, like Kling, also referring to Krishna, Srimati Radharani and the living entity and their loving exchange. So these are chanted before chanting any mantra, like the Gayatri mantras. Om Bhurbhuva Svaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Ityadi. Om is there. All the Gayatris are there. And they start with Kling. So that is the bij, the seed, and then the mantra is coming. Is manifested. So that is according to the Vedic literatures. And then, by doing this, Purport is writing that will assure the perfection of the activity. So therefore, of course, the most important mantra is the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And before chanting the Maha Mantra, then we remember Guru, Gauranga, Krishna also. And then we can attain success in our activities. So the Maha Mantra is even, of course, ultimately Om and Krishna, they are not different. At the same time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has introduced the chanting of the Maha Mantra in the age of Kali. And he has given the bhav also, the mood for chanting this mantra, the Maha Mantra. And that will give us very quick result, and we can very quickly advance and achieve perfection by chanting the Maha Mantra. Whereas by chanting Om, simply chanting Om, we can get some benefit also, but then the progress will be slow. But we may also chant Om, and we're chanting every day, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and so on. Many mantras are there, and we chant Om, but most important is the Maha Mantra. And then we can attain success. And usually the Vedic mantras are only chanted by Brahmanas. Others are not allowed. But the Maha Mantra anyone can chant. And anyone can make advancement in spiritual life. So therefore Mahaprabhu, although he was from a Brahmana family, but he's the Supreme Lord, and he was chanting also the Gayatri mantra, and he was, of course, he's Sarvagya, he knows everything, but he was giving this simple mantra, the Maha Mantra, which is the most important mantra, the most powerful mantra, most beneficial mantra, and that is for everyone, without following many rules and regulations. Whereas chanting any Vedic mantra, one has to follow so many rules and regulations, which is difficult to follow in the age of Kali. So therefore we should follow Mahaprabhu's instructions and Mahaprabhu's mood, so who came to give the Maha Mantra. So we all chant the Maha Mantra as much as possible. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then by hearing, and Mahaprabhu came to give Braj Bhav. So we have to hear about Krishna in Braj. And of course we have to hear about Mahaprabhu and his wonderful pastimes. And then we can quickly advance. And the simple process is there of Prabhupada used to chant, say chant Hare Krishna and take Krishna Prasadam and be happy. Very simple. So we chanted enough the Maha Mantra, now we can take some prasad and be happy. Srila Prabhupada ki, Hare Krishna. Everyone can come here and take some prasad.